As visual communicators, if our goal is to in fact communicate, then our primary objective and driving force would understandably be to do so effectively. In our world today, text dominates as a way of disseminating information. Typography matters because as a critical component of a design, it could make or break a message. Typography has its own unit of measurement. Originally determined by the height of actual pieces of lead type, the concept of letter forms casted on a small piece of lead remains one of the most useful ways of thinking about type. Today, type size is determined by the space between the top of the ascender to the bottom of the descender. We calculate the size of type with the unit measurement of points, or 1/72 of an inch. As demonstrated, it's important to master skills of kerning and leading because of the power each hold to make or break a design. No one notices design until it's bad. Now, be careful not to confuse kerning with letter spacing, as kerning refers to removing space between letters. Letter spacing differs, as it is the addition of space between them. Consequently, one of the most beautiful attributes of typography is the way in which it works to reinforce meaning. Simple choices in typeface size, weight, and position on a page can strengthen representation of the concepts, objects, and actions that words describe. Consider the unique characteristics of each typeface, and understanding its place in history, as different typefaces suit and portray different messages, especially in typesetting, where the goal is to allow for easy and prolonged reading. John Kane notes that when setting a field of type, keep in mind your first job: clear, appropriate presentation of the author's message. Simply put, if you see the type before you see the words, change the type. One specific movement that had quite the impact on typography was that of modernism. The advent of new technology and mechanical engineering had forced artists to strategically rethink the way they practiced typography. The results would include a revolutionary turn in the way they would work. This theme of mass production had become central to the nature of the modernist movement. Modernism was heavily influenced by fine art and the culmination of the culture of the time, alongside styles of across all disciplines of Impressionism, Cubism, Futurism, and Surrealism. Together, they created the modernist movement to be one of the most influential of the 20th century. Deterred from design's overly decorated past, designers were drawn to a new wave of simplicity that hallmarked the modernist movement. Type designers of this time would adhere to strict, rigid grid systems and orient their designs to emphasize negative space and promote the visual identity of sans serif type. A rebellion against commercialism, materialism, greed, and the cheapening of life, this movement would come to produce one of the most iconic typefaces to have ever been developed. Such typefaces include Helvetica, Futura, Franklin Gothic, and Monotype Grotesque. A seasoned designer, Karen Goldberg's typographic work would seek to call viewers out and draw them in. Philip Meggs has credited Goldberg as being one of the women who saved New York. Notedly, she is highly praised for her impact on contemporary design. New York City native, she studied at the Cooper Union School of Art and began her career as a staff designer at CBS Television, CBS Records, and Atlantic Records before establishing her own firm. Straddling the lines of modernist, postmodernist, and post-postmodernist design, her ability to create timeless works is a testament to the longevity of her career. Her piece Ulysses has been praised as a postmodern staple and has also been rebuked as portraying jive modernism, all the while inciting a fight over appropriation. Either way, this hallmark piece has placed Goldberg at the top of the 1980s cultural wars. An interview with AIGA notes Goldberg's wittiness, meticulous, and elegant craftsmanship both on and off paper. While working at CBS Television and Records in the late 70s, she learned to wield an X-Acto blade like a scalpel so she could kern 9-point type with a brain surgeon's precision. She notes several tips to designers just starting out, including never work alone. It's essential to be in some sort of collaboration or partnership with someone. Cultivating a creative environment is essential. It's really stifling and lonely to think that you can sit in your pajamas at home and work efficiently and fluidly. Design is inherently collaborative. She notes when you're young and you're a student, you can learn fast, so get as much as you can under your belt as soon as possible. Be honest, generous, loyal, curious, organized, inclusive, accessible, confident, humble, dedicated, brave, and well informed. In order to be prepared to enter into the world of design, it's imperative that we as designers take into account the nature and mechanics of typography, and insight as to how type has maneuvered itself throughout the eras. And as fellow designers and human beings, we should hold each other accountable for the things we create, and we should push each other outside the limits of what we think we can do. Thank you.